Joining me right now for all the hot topics all morning long this morning is Watchdog on Wall Street radio show host and Markowski Investments president, Chris Markowski. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think there's any question that the country is not going to default, Chris. I mean, look, everyone knows that at some point the debt ceiling will have to be raised. Yeah. The question is, will the administration start identifying areas to cut? Because so far it's been so much spending from the federal government. The only game in town handling inflation is the Federal Reserve. And then there's this new NBC News poll where it reveals 71% of Americans say that the country is headed in the wrong direction, Chris.
Well, we're in this, it's like this debt ceiling is this perverse game of Groundhog Day, that we keep doing it again and again and again. And again, the debt ceiling is all about money that is they already spent. We just got through with this ridiculous omnibus spending bill that I was not a fan of at all. I wish the Republicans in the Senate had pushed back from that. I don't know what they're going to get out of this negotiation here, but the reality for the American people right now is that our interest payments, sooner rather than later, are going to exceed $1 trillion a year. That's going to be greater than what we spend on our defense. I mean, as interest rates rise, you talked about the Fed's going to be raising rates this week. This costs we, the people, the taxpayers, that much more. I think that's a part of the reason why Americans feel we're on the wrong track. The other is you're paying $18 for eggs and all this other nonsensical inflation that we haven't gotten rid of.
Chris, jump in here. We've already seen a big impact from these higher rates. The housing market is said to be in recession. I'm wondering about the lag effect and whether or not the broader economy still has room to come down.
Well, we're getting Case Shiller, I think, this week as well. We're going to get a little bit more of an insight in regards to housing. And again, the housing market definitely was going to be going down to the downside simply because rates were going up. I was also curious, Brad, what your thoughts are on the effect on earnings with reopening of China moving forward and, how that's going to play out.
I think we're going to see that as a tailwind to growth. We've seen U.S. exports, for example, drop significantly. That's actually been a real headwind to growth. We see China start to open up. That starts to open that up because it's not just China, it's all the subsidiary economies around it.
Migrants at the U.S.-Canada border wading through 12 feet of snow. Joining me right now with all the hot topics all morning long is Chris Markowski and Joe Pinion. Chris, you've got all of these people coming in illegally, jumping across the line in front of those people who have actually tried to do it legally. You've got fentanyl crossing the border. I'm reminded of Joe Manchin, who I spoke with 2 weeks ago in Davos, who said Alejandro Mayorkas knows that the border is not secure. He's being directed by the Biden administration to say it's secure, lie to the American people. Now, Florida Congressman Carlos Jimenez is urging the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas to reconsider allowing 4 senior border chiefs to testify before Congress. Mayorkas vetoed an invitation from the House Oversight Committee. In a letter obtained by Fox, Jimenez writes this: the American people are horrified that he denied 4 Chief Patrol agents the right to testify at a congressional hearing about how U.S. Border Patrol agents are managing this crisis. I urge you to reconsider this decision and allow your Chief Patrol agents and honorable law enforcement officers the right to share their experiences with the American people. Chris, I mean, it's like their way or the highway. They won't even allow anybody who are on the front lines to explain to Congress what's really taking place down there.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, and the American people are fed up with it. We've got over 100,000 people dying in this country every single year due to drug overdoses as it continues to come across the border. But my problem is with some of the Republicans is the idea of trying to impeach Mayorkas. Mayorkas, he can't do anything unless the Biden administration tells him to. He's just doing basically their marching orders. This you have to put solely at the feet of the administration, and at some point in time, we've got to get Democrats and Republicans to come together, and we have to get real immigration reform here in this country. Do we have problems right now in regards to our labor force? Absolutely. Do we need more workers? Yes, but we need to do it in a legal manner. And we also have to get these people who are coming in to assimilate to our society. That's important as well, because once they assimilate into our society, they can move up from generation to generation, just like we've done in the past.
And Chris, you just said, look, Mayorkas, it's not him. He's being told what to do. So what are you suggesting? Impeach President Biden?
Well, I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to head in that direction. I really hope that the House really starts to push forward in regards to getting some things done. The Miami representative, her name's eluding me right now, has got up a plan where it's almost a 15 Jimenez. But there was also another one as well that had a 15-year plan to push towards 10 years, and then you get another 5 years before you can become a citizen. At least something moving forward where we have to put a stop. There has to stop at the border. We have to stop the flow coming in. Then we got to decide, okay, we've got all these people here. How are we going to go about handling it? And this is something where we're going to have some sort of compromise. I don't think it's going to be, the slightest bit ideal to think that we're going to be able to get rid of all of these people. I do think we need to institute E-Verify to make sure that, the people here that have the paperwork are the ones that are able to work. All of these things are right there. We're just not implementing them.
I think you make a great point. There's a reason so many people are leaving high-tax states and going to Florida. Chris Markowski, you're with us this morning. Your thoughts in terms of this slowdown in housing. This is not like what we saw in 2006, because it was a different situation then with regard to supply.
Oh, praise God, Maria. We don't want to go back to the adjustable rate mortgages where everybody was getting a reset and had no choice but to sell. Even if, let's say, what Goldman Sachs is right. You go some of these markets where you see a precipitous drop in housing prices. If you don't have an adjustable rate mortgage, okay, you still have your house. It's a function of what you can afford every single month. And that's what we're dealing with. Most people get a 30-year mortgage. They said, okay, I got my principal, I got my interest, and I've got my insurance costs that are all baked in, taxes as well. And if there's an adjustment there, like we've had right now, where interest rates have gone up, guess what? The principal's going to have to come down a little bit. It's just all natural.
Well, Chris, this is quite stunning, I've got to say. Pfizer did not respond initially to the Project Veritas report, but they responded to Fox News on Friday. It was a long, and I guess what Senator Lee is saying, it was way too convoluted.
Yeah, I'm trying to read through it and try to actually, what is the definition of gain of function? And from their statement, it looked like, for crying out loud, it looks like that they're changing this thing around. Everyone was upset, and rightfully so. This wasn't too long ago when Boston University got caught messing around with this. In their statement as well, they said it was a level 3 containment area. I'm at this point in time, I'm like, where in the world is Scott Gottlieb? He's been all over the news for the past year and a half, even longer, when it comes to Pfizer and vaccine. He's one of the members of the board here. At some point in time, he's going to have to come out again and explain what's going on.
Chris, your reaction to Lydia's report, I think it's really important to recognize that now China wants its own ChatGPT vehicle.
Well, you could tie that into TikTok and basically try to figure out what they're going to be trying to get into our heads and what we're going to do next. But the interesting thing I found out on Friday was they actually asked ChatGPT to make an ETF to outperform the market, and it couldn't do it. It actually said, past performance, no guarantee of future results, and everyone has to work with a financial advisor. And I found that very, very fascinating that they haven't been able to master the market.
Big buzz of the morning. Check out this curious bear ending up triggering hundreds of selfies to be taken at a wildlife motion-activated camera in Colorado. The bear can be seen from a number of angles for over 400 images. He just kept taking pictures of himself, Chris.
I'm seeing this, and I'm thinking it's kind of like a promo or a fake thing for that Cocaine Bear movie that's coming out very shortly. I can't even believe it.